So what are we looking at here? Actual rocket ships taking the price of gold and silver to the moon, or is this just a metaphor? Maybe a little bit of an exaggeration. I'm hoping this is a metaphor that's been exaggerated. I can live with that. I don't want to dwell too much around here on short-term price movements. It gets boring. And not that I get bored of it myself, really. Just that I don't want to do it. I mean, it's literally boring. It encourages exaggeration because it is. Pretty soon you're using toilet paper power words. Prices skyrocket. Prices plummet. Words you'd never use in a real conversation. Words that definitely don't describe 1 or 2% price swings. But this is a big week. Momentous, even. If we're going back to those power words, we have the U.S. Federal Reserve, the Bank of Japan, and the European Central Bank all announcing key rate decisions. And each also has a potential to signal pivot, maybe a pause, and that's the point that moves the gold and the silver. Maybe we get it, maybe we don't, but we are going to know this week. Before we get back to it, if you're looking for precious metals, hit up SD Bullion. New customers even get gold and silver for spot. It's sdbullion.com/new. So there's not really anything that we can do about it. It kicks off tomorrow, but we can look at why it's important. And I think that we should start with the expectation. Now, the market is pretty convinced the Fed is going to raise the rate another 25 basis points. The FedWatch tool currently shows this with a 98.9% probability. Then they'll pause. Now, if Jerome Powell pops his head up and says only those things, we're probably looking at steady growth, nothing chaotic. This is the play that the gold bulls have been waiting for. It's one of the plays that the silver bulls are waiting for too. If Powell shakes things up and says anything other than that, we get to have this conversation again in September. That's the next meeting. Now, prior to that meeting, maybe the Bank of Japan or the ECB will surprise the markets enough to add another layer. Who knows? But Wednesday is the big day. It could be the end of the 16-month run of monetary policy tightening we've seen here in the United States. 16 months of near constant downward pressure on gold. So I'm not here to give any kind of buy now warning. This isn't even really market analysis. Like I said, I just don't expect a whole lot of chaos. The most likely decision, well, it's already priced in. We're probably already looking at that factored into the spot price of gold today. But what nobody can predict here is the stance that the Fed is going to take from that point on. Will Powell be standing under a mission accomplished banner? Probably not. But if he says the hikes have had the expected effect, he doesn't anticipate the need for much more, well, that is a major policy change, and it's coming at some point. That is when we see the start of the wild rumpus, or at least a bit more of the expected increase in metals prices. Now, if Powell keeps the threat alive, that threat of more rate hikes, well, guess what? We get to keep coasting. No real direction on prices, and it's something that I'm normally not too worried about. Like I said earlier, commenting on price movement in coasting season, a season with no real anticipated direction, it's pretty boring. So I've been going over my current holdings, current goals, where I'm currently at versus where I'd like to be. And I'm going to raise the bar a little bit. I have a partial tube of American Gold Eagles. I'm going to complete that. And there's a new high relief Liberty coming from the U.S. Mint. I don't know, sometime this summer, I'm going to grab that. There's also a new Lunar Dragon coming from the Perth Mint. So there's a fair amount of gold that I'd like to get a hold of. Some of that, it's really just OCD, filling tubes and completing series. Need to catch them all or finish those empty spots. And I think that it's a good time to do it because I really don't expect a whole lot to happen in the next few months. I could be wrong, but my guess is that Jerome Powell is not going to throw up a mission accomplished sign yet. I think he's going to keep the mystery alive. Just look at this from the human perspective. Powell is not going to say that they're definitely done, simply because he doesn't want to go down in history as the clown. I mean, even if he thought they were done, there's just no way he's going to go on record saying so. That's my take anyway. I think it's probably a few months out. So I think what we're looking at is something between those extremes. My guess is that we're going to start to see the price of gold go up, but I'm still going to feel like I've got plenty of time to fill that tube, keep up with those new series releases without any truly skyrocketing prices. Now, I also think that because a policy pivot is still ahead of us, that buying now is not throwing away money like some of the pessimists have been suggesting, that gold is going to fall off a cliff soon. I think the conditions that you would expect to send the gold prices up have to come at some point in the future. There's just no way around it. So regardless of what we hear on Wednesday, I think we're looking ahead to higher gold prices. It might not be late this week. It might take a little bit longer, but who knows? The reason these next few meetings are important, though, is that they're going to give us that early warning on the big moves. So back to Powell's stance and why that's important. If we were to get unexpected hawkish overtones, then I get to pick up the next few coins a little bit cheaper. We're going to be looking at gold with a discount, and that isn't all bad. But if we get the ultra dovish talk, well, the discounts might be in the past. And I guess if I were to look at the gold that I already have, well, that's going to go up in value. So it's a hard one to lose on. Either way, though, this week is a big one by all standards. It's worth paying attention to for sure, even if it seems a little bit boring at the moment. Okay, let's call it good there. We'll get back to the gold here after this, but let us know what you think is going to happen this week. Do you think gold price is going to go up? Do you think it's going to go down? Maybe it's going to go sideways. Let us know. And then while you're in the comments, be sure to hit that like button if you found any of this interesting. Be sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on if you'd like to see more on the topic. And if you're still here, thanks again for watching. I always appreciate your time. Take care.